I'm Julia Supa. Welcome to In the Know. Today we're talking about life insurance. And joining us for the first time, a brand new guest here on In the Know, Jack the Lifeman Bendahan. Welcome to In the Know, Jack.
Thank you very much for having me, Julia.
Okay, I'm excited about this topic. I want to remind viewers at home that we are live for the entire hour. So if you have a question about life insurance, give us a call. I'm going to have tons of questions because I'm new to this.
I look forward to it.
I told you before the show, I am your naive client. I know nothing about life insurance. I don't have life insurance. And why don't we start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Jack Bendahan. People refer to me as the Life Man because of my knowledge in life insurance. And I'm a life insurance broker, but I'd like to kind of refer myself as a life insurance educator. So I'll usually come in with a client and it'll be a two-part meeting. I'll come in and I'll give you a great education. You'll have no pressure at all. There'll be you're not going to get your typical aggressive salesman. And I'll leave there and give you time to really ponder what I said. And then if you want to call me back, it's great. And I represent all the companies, not just one in particular. So I can give you, 15 different life insurance quotes and give you my knowledge on what companies I like to work with, preferably.
Okay. And over the course of our show today, we're going to be talking about different types of life insurance, universal life insurance, mortgage life insurance, as well as some of your picks.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's start by what is life insurance, and does everyone need life insurance?
Yes, I think everybody needs life insurance. Personally, I got into the industry because we had some unfortunate incidents in our family where both my parents got a critical illness in my early 20s, and my father-in-law passed away right before we got married. So that prompted me to kind of get into the insurance industry when I saw what kind of impact it had on my family and my mother-in-law.
Right. Okay, so the difference is we're going to start today's discussion off by talking about mortgage life insurance. And what is mortgage life insurance?
Yes, so there's mortgage life insurance is actually supplied by the bank, not from me. So when your typical situation, let me backtrack here for a sec. There are many reasons why you shouldn't use mortgage life insurance versus life insurance, and we'll get into the differences between both. But the primary reason is post-claim underwriting. And post-claim underwriting, what that means is the underwriting is done after you die, not before. So typically, a typical situation is a person buying a new home. They walk into the bank, they sit down with their mortgage specialist, and they're making the biggest purchase of their life, ready to sign all the papers, and then right towards the end, the mortgage specialist will pose them this question that I'm sure you've probably heard before, but if something were to happen to you, do you want your mortgage paid off? Do you want your family taken care of? How would you answer that?
For sure, yes.
Exactly. And you would answer that by saying yes and signing on the dotted line, not knowing anything further.
Right.
So that's what the mortgage insurance supplied by the bank does, is they do their post-claim underwriting after the fact. So what we could look at essentially is, and I've done a whole series on this called The Truth About Mortgage Insurance, where a client who is uncertain could log into that particular site and receive web videos where he would be directed on what forms he actually filled out with the bank, and he'll see the one question that he was, taken for a ride on.
Okay, you have a sample of a mortgage application form, right?
Yes, I do have that here as well. I won't disclose what company it's from, obviously. Right. But the question that they get you on, and it's a question that 85% of people answer incorrectly. That was a statistic taken from CBC Marketplace. And the question, I'm not going to read the entire question, but basically, in the last 2 years, have you been tested for, received any treatment, medical advice, consultation, diagnosis? It goes on and on and on, and it's basically 30 questions in one question. So they really trip you up there, and it's done on purpose. Moving on to into the actual question, the question states, have you actually seen a doctor in the last 2 years?
Right.
So if you were 85% answer that incorrectly, but you have seen a doctor in 2 years.
For sure, most people have seen a doctor in 2 years.
So you've probably gone for a checkup, or you've done a blood test, or you had a cold and you went to see the doctor. Right away you're answering that question incorrectly. So what they can do is they can come back essentially in the end, and they can argue that you lied on the application. And in fact, that's what they've done.
Okay.
Another question that they ask you is, have you been tested for high blood pressure? So have you ever been to the doctor's office and had a cuff put around your arm?
Right.
And you've been tested for high blood pressure.
Yes.
Another question that you didn't mean to lie on, but you did. And one of the questions that I found very interesting was, Have you ever had any stomach disorders? So how would you define stomach disorder? You'd probably think it was something severe.
Right.
So the way, when I looked it up, because I was interested to see what is a stomach disorder defined as, if you've had diarrhea, if you've had stomach flu, that's considered a stomach disorder. So again, another question that
Something
they got
to
you
trip
on.
you up.
Exactly.
And so in the case of if you accidentally lie, you don't mean to lie, you could be denied.
Because all the underwriting is done after the fact. So it's done after you die. So they can actually go back to the application. And I'm not saying they won't pay you out, but what they do is they can see that you lied on the application. They can go to your doctor, and then they can go through your entire, we call this a physician's report, and they can find out what else you lied on and use that against you. And that's what they've done. One of the things I broadcast is it was a CBC Marketplace expose that they did on mortgage insurance, where 3 women are actually not paid out in the end because the application wasn't answered incorrectly.
And why weren't the women paid out? This is specifically to do with women, you told me.
Yeah, well, in this case, they focused on women. I guess the questions weren't answered correctly, and so they went back and they said, well, you lied on the application. And one of these women was a lady from Burlington, and she had 2 kids. And what do? You expected that mortgage to be paid off.
For sure.
You have 1 less income, and now you have, what do you tell your kids? What do you tell your family? Who do you ask for help? So you really thought that insurance, when you signed for it, you're paying for it. Month after month, you thought you were covered for it, but you're not.
So the difference then between mortgage life insurance and
that's great.
and regular life insurance is what?
So the big difference, well, there's many differences, and hopefully we have time to get to all of them, but I doubt we will. But the biggest thing is with life insurance, we do what's called pre-underwriting. So all the underwriting is done beforehand. They'll send a nurse to your house. They'll ask you questions, and the questions are very different than what you see here. It's not one question with 30 questions in one that says yes or no. It's 40 specific questions that are clear and concise, that you can definitely, it's very understandable what they're getting at. And from there, they may write to your family doctor. They may do a blood test. They may do a repeat blood test. And a lot of people will say, oh, that's a headache. I don't want to go through that. But isn't it worth it? Like going through it and dealing with that now rather than your family not being paid out?
Okay, so lots of differences. We're going to get to other forms of insurance later on in the show. We're going to talk about universal life insurance for sure, and more about life insurance specifically. When should someone very quickly register for life insurance?
Well, it all depends. The younger you are, the less expensive the premium. So the earlier you do it in your life, the better it is.
Okay.
Obviously, we were having some talk with the crew here before, and they felt that they were a little too young. I was looking at life insurance in my early 20s.
Okay.
Maybe I was a little more mature than the average person, but I think the earlier you get it, the better it is.
Okay.
And the cheaper it is.
And the cheaper, okay. Yeah. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a short break here on In the Know. If you have any questions for Jack, give us a call.